Welcome back to Reddit Echoes. Today's stories come from Reddit, where people share moments that changed how they see family, love, and responsibility. These aren't stories about perfect people or clean decisions. They're about boundaries, betrayal, and the quiet moments where someone finally says enough. Let's get into it. Story 1. Am I the asshole for refusing to go to my dad's wedding after he cheated while my mom was dying? When I was 17, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. For 2 years, our lives revolved around hospital visits, treatments, and trying to pretend things were normal when they clearly weren't. During that time, my dad was barely there. He said he was working. He said he had business trips. He said everything he was doing was for the family. In reality, my aunt and my grandma were the ones taking care of my mom. They were the ones sitting with her during chemo, helping her on bad days, holding everything together while my dad was conveniently unavailable. 2 years later, my mom passed away. 5 months after her funeral, my dad sat me down and told me he had a girlfriend. I lost it. I yelled at him. I asked how he could move on so fast. I asked if my mom had meant nothing to him. He tried to calm me down, told me I didn't understand, told me I was being emotional. And then he told me the truth. They hadn't just started dating. They'd been together for 3 years. 3 years! My dad had been cheating on my mom while she was dying. Those business trips, they were trips to see his affair partner. And the worst part? She wasn't a stranger. She was a friend of my mom. She knew my mom had cancer. She knew exactly what was happening and still chose to be part of it. I remember feeling like something inside me just shut off. I packed my things that same day and left the house. I didn't scream, I didn't cry. I just left, and I didn't speak to my dad again. 8 years passed. I'm 25 now. The only family member I still talk to is my aunt, the one who helped me when I left and gave me a place to land when my life fell apart. A few days ago, she called me to check in. We talked normally for a bit. Then she asked if I'd heard from my dad. I laughed and said, "Why would I?" She hesitated, then told me my dad was getting married to the same woman and that going to the wedding could help mend our relationship. I told her no. I said he's dead to me. There was a long silence on the line. Then I heard my dad's voice. That's when I realized my aunt had put him on the call without telling me. I hung up immediately. I texted her afterward and told her I asked her years ago not to share anything about me with him. She replied saying I was cruel, that what I said crushed him and that I should have moved on by now. I didn't argue. I blocked her. 2 days later, I received a wedding invitation in my mailbox. The only person in my family who had my address was my aunt. Then the calls started. My dad, uncles, aunts, cousins. Some begged me to be the bigger person. Others called me heartless and dramatic. His affair partner even texted me saying my dad was thinking about postponing the wedding and that I should just talk to him. I told her it wasn't my fault if the wedding was postponed. I didn't want a relationship with either of them, and they needed to stop trying to force one. After that, things went quiet, but being told over and over that I was the asshole did get to me. So I sent one message. I explained exactly what my dad did. I explained why I went no contact. I explained everything I'd been silent about for years. Then I blocked every number. I changed my phone number and kept the old one on a spare phone just in case they tried to harass me from new numbers. A week later, my aunt's fiancé showed up at my apartment. He told me that message I sent caused chaos. Cousins who didn't know the truth started asking questions. My dad and his fiancé denied it until someone confirmed it was all true. People started backing out of the wedding. Friends of my mom pulled out too. My dad wanted to postpone the wedding to talk to me. His fiancée threatened to leave him if he did. She had a breakdown. She started banning anyone who mentioned the affair from the wedding, and apparently she blamed all of it on me. I couldn't help but laugh at that. My aunt's fiancé told me the real reason she called me was because she was worried about how it would look if I wasn't at the wedding. Not how I felt, how it would look. I thanked him for telling me, and I told him I was going completely no contact with my aunt as well. That hurt more than I expected. I miss my aunt, I miss my mom, but I know I did the right thing. The wedding happened anyway. No one from that side of the family contacted me after that, and I didn't reach out either. It's been a year now. I'm at peace. Life moved on, and honestly, I'm better for it.
Story 2. My husband left me because he couldn't bond with our baby. I'm 30 years old. I'm non-binary. My husband is 29, and we had been married for 5 years. Last September, I gave birth to our first child, a baby girl. The pregnancy itself was normal. My husband was involved, supportive, excited. He came to appointments, talked to my belly, made plans for the future. Then, labor happened. Things went wrong quickly. I had to have an emergency C-section. Doctors rushed around. At some point, they told my husband he had to leave the room. He didn't see our daughter being born. A week later, he told me he wanted a divorce. He said he needed to start over on his dream of having a family. At first, I thought I'd misheard him. Then he explained that he couldn't bond with our daughter, and the reason, according to him, was that he didn't see her being born. He kept saying that moment was supposed to be the moment, the spark, the connection, and because he missed it, it was gone forever. His dad suggested therapy. My husband refused. He said he already knew therapy wouldn't help. I told him I was open to going together if he ever changed his mind. I was desperate to understand what was happening. Eventually, after people online suggested it, he agreed to come to one therapy session, not to fix things, but to help me understand why he was leaving. During that session, he said something I'll never forget. He said my bond with the baby started during pregnancy because she was made from my body, and his bond was supposed to start at birth. He compared it to an employment contract. He said his work was supposed to start at birth, and since he wasn't there, he never got hired. I wish I was exaggerating. The therapist asked questions. He answered calmly, firmly, like he'd rehearsed this explanation 100 times. People online asked if my gender identity was the issue. I brought it up in therapy. He said no. He insisted it had nothing to do with that. He didn't care what I was, only how the birth happened. A few weeks later, he started talking about lawyers. He said he wanted a clean break before our daughter got too attached. That sentence broke something in me. We filed for divorce. I moved back in with my parents, with my daughter. They weren't happy about the divorce, but they were thrilled to be grandparents. Life felt frozen for a while. Then my father-in-law asked us all to come over for dinner. He told me my husband had asked him for help paying for a lawyer. He agreed, but only if we all sat down for one last conversation. He wanted the truth. For hours, he pushed his son to explain himself, and my husband repeated the same thing over and over. I didn't see her being born. I can't bond. The spark didn't happen. My father-in-law finally said, "I'm not buying this. What's the real reason?" There wasn't one. He wasn't cheating. He didn't doubt she was his. There wasn't another woman. He just didn't want this life anymore. At one point, he offered $50 a month in alimony and $50 a month in child support. He said he wanted to be fair. I stopped listening after that. The next day, I packed and left. We only communicate through lawyers now. Months later, the divorce was nearly finalized. The judge was not impressed with his explanation. Therapy was recommended. Child support was ordered. He doesn't use his visitation. He pays only the $50 he promised, not what he's legally supposed to. My daughter turned 1 this year. Her first word was dog, because my father-in-law adopted one and brings it over all the time. I don't know how I feel about my ex. Sometimes I wish there was a clearer reason. Cheating, another family,
something obvious. But I think the truth is simpler. The reality hit him, and he ran. Story 3. Christmas was better without him and the Rocky movies. Every Christmas, my brother-in-law insists on the same tradition. All the Rocky movies, all day, loud. And we're expected to actively watch them. They can't just be on in the background. If you leave the room, he guilt trips you for not participating. I can't stand the movies, and I'm not the only one. This year, a few of us decided we'd had enough. Between Rocky 2 and Rocky 3, my brothers, my parents, and I went into another room to play a game. My brother-in-law followed us and told us we needed to be in the living room. We told him no, not this year. He left the house. Later, he texted my sister and said he went home and would finish watching the movies alone. So we turned on Christmas music. We cooked together. We played games. It was the most enjoyable Christmas we had in years. Growing up, my grandmother used to play Hallmark movies non-stop every Christmas. My brother and I made fun of them constantly. She passed away a few years ago, and this year I put on a ridiculous Hallmark-style movie, a snowman who comes to life and falls in love. It was dumb. We laughed, we joked, and somehow it felt like Christmas again. So now I want to hear from you. Was this someone protecting themselves or someone walking away too easily? Where would you draw the line if you were in their place? Let me know what you think.